Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Comic Source. I'm your host, Jace. Special treat for you today. I know we normally just talk about comics, but this is as comic adjacent as it gets. It's Iron Man and his awesome friends. And I have James Eason Garcia, who's one of the producers on the show, joining me today to talk about his experience at Comic-Con and to preview Iron Man and his awesome friends. So, James, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, and also I have to express my thanks for letting me check out the first couple episodes. They're so much fun. There's kind of two stories in each episode, everybody, and it is sort of aimed at a younger viewer, and there's definitely lessons to be learned. But I'm obviously not a young viewer, and I really, really enjoyed it. So, James, why don't you give us an idea? Give us kind of the pitch of the series, if you will. How would you describe it?
Yeah, Disney Junior and Marvel have had such a success with Spidey and his amazing friends that they were like, hey, let's do more of this and let's bring more Marvel magic and Marvel characters to a preschool audience. So we really wanted to, they came to us at first and said, hey, let's do Iron Man. What would you all want to do with Iron Man? And it was such a fun challenge being able to craft and build a world around Iron Man, who normally has some pretty dark storylines and some pretty heavy themes, both in the films and in the comics. And how could we round those edges off a little bit, still make it Iron Man, but make it preschool relatable and preschool fun? And so that was really the challenge of it, but also the excitement. It was like we've got these amazing characters who are gonna help save the day every single episode.
Yeah, I mean the joke, right, is he's Tony Snark, not Tony Stark. But yeah, you guys definitely he does still have a little bit of an edge to him. You'll notice, but he's joined primarily by Riri Williams and Amadeus Cho, Ironheart and Iron Hulk in this case. What went into the thinking behind choosing those as the other two characters to have along with Tony?
Yeah, since we always knew everything was going to center around Tony Stark and Iron Man, we wanted the other characters that were with him to be other super geniuses, other characters who, in Marvel canon, could just as likely build iron suits as Tony could. And obviously, Ironheart had done that herself. That's kind of how she came onto the scene in her comics and in her story. And we knew we needed like that third super genius heat. And we all just kind of kept circling around Amadeus Cho, who, in my mind, my mind and also probably the comic book lore, is just as brilliant as these other two characters. And when we kind of started circling around that, it just felt right. Plus, like, who doesn't want to be friends with the Hulk? Who doesn't want to have the Hulk as a friend? So it just kind of worked out to have these three super genius characters who could all create their own armor, but we could all see hanging out together, being inventors together.
Yeah, I think Amadeus might actually be my favorite. I mean, obviously in the comics, he hulks out, he doesn't have armor, but just first of all, the name Iron Hulk is really, really cool. And the other thing, and everybody, when you get a chance to see it, it's not too big of a spoiler. You get a chance to see it. That classic Hulk slap, where he creates a shockwave. That's like a signature power for Amadeus in this iteration, and it was just so fun.
That was one of the coolest things when we first started. This was like, how could we give them all like unique identifiable powers that was special to all of them? Obviously, they can all fly. They have repulsors. They have arc reactor blasts, like the traditional stuff that we're all used to. But we wanted to find those unique ways. So, Ironheart gets her really cool heartbeat bubble, and Iron Hulk, we wanted to do his Iron Boom, which is very much reminiscent of like the Hulk Thunderclap.
Yeah, the other thing that's really interesting that obviously as we mentioned, aimed at preschool, kind of a younger viewer, but the choosing these characters that kind of iterate the fact, hey man, it's cool to be smart, it's cool to learn and to be into science and be able to create your own stuff and that sort of thing. I mean, obviously we don't want people taking apart their parents' microwaves here, but I love that. I love that you lean into the idea that learning and science and that stuff is just cool.
Yeah, it was always a goal to put a spotlight on that and emphasize like how being genius is awesome, how being friends is awesome. We never wanted to make it feel like a lesson. They never sit down and talk about like this is how science works, that kind of thing. But it's all building off of like who Tony is as a character. Tony is a super genius. Tony is somebody who wants to make the world a better place. each and every day. And when we were sitting in the writers' room coming up with stories, it was always, how could these characters make the day as totally awesome as they possibly could? And that's, the trio of these three characters, that's kind of their motto every day. Like wake up every morning and say, how can we make today totally awesome? And then, of course we have villains that come along and they have the opposite goal. How can we make this day totally not awesome for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, a natural to choose Ultron as a villain with his Ultron song.
Yes. We have that was a crazy idea that our writers came up with, and it seemed really simple at first. Like, yeah, let's have an episode that's kind of Battle of the Bands, the superhero Iron Friends versus like Ultron, who has taken over the city with the like. It's supposed to be the worst song you've ever heard, but it's actually kind of catchy.
It
You kind of
is.
like it. But hearing it all day long every day would probably drive you crazy. And it was such just like a kind of out of the box idea. And that was something we always wanted to do on the show was honor those like Silver Age comic roots where like it could just be science fiction-y and it could just be a little weird. And you didn't really have to like get into the explaining how it all was happening. It was just like there's a bad guy and they're doing this really weird thing. There's science and technology involved, and the heroes have to be smarter and better with their science and technology to save the day. And this one, it just happens to be instruments that save the day.
Yeah, that episode was a lot of fun, and kind of going back to this idea of there's lessons that are sort of embedded here, and I mentioned it kind of being for aimed at a younger audience, but man, these are lessons that a lot of us could be do well to be reminded of. Hey, let's get along, let's put others before ourselves, and have a little empathy. So I really enjoyed that, and even in one of the stories that I got a chance to check out with the robot chicken, it's like Amadeus is coming at it from a point of wanting to help, but and then things kind of go sideways. So there's even a good lesson in that. And obviously, Gamma or Iron Pup is a lot of fun, a little bit of comedic relief as well. Did you always know you were going to have like a little sidekick dog? Was it always a dog? Was it a cat? Was it something else at one point?
It was always something that I was really passionate, excited, and wanted to have as part of the show. I am a huge dog fan. I have two dogs that are like sleeping right below me right now. Hopefully they don't start barking. Everybody on the team is like a dog owner, dog lover. My show running partner, Sean Coyle, is a big dog guy. So it was just like a lot of love for dog already coming in. And we really wanted to just have fun with like, what would happen if we gave a dog iron armor?
Right.
And it was like, it's still this fun, wacky, playful dog, that likes to jump and bark and dig and all this stuff, but it's all heightened because there's an iron suit involved. And I've loved that, Superman came out this summer and Crypto had a, such a, such an important part to play in that movie. And now we're introducing, Iron Pup as part of our Iron Man lore. So I'm like, if this is the summer of superhero dogs, I'm totally okay with it. And I want people to start kind of having the like the classic like who would get around the world faster, Superman or Flash? Like who would dig a hole faster, Iron Pup or Crypto?
I'm all for Tony getting a dog in the comics. That would be fantastic.
I
Now,
want to see I want to see Iron Pup make her way into the comics, but also definitely I want to see her make her way into the MCU.
oh, that would be great as well. Now, I mentioned you were at Comic Con. Were you there to promote Iron Man and his awesome friends?
This year was just really being there to support friends and also just I'm a big comic book nerd. I just want to walk the floor. I want to look at art. I want to see all the cosplay. I want to buy too many toys and too many collectibles. But yeah, this year was really just, a chance for some fun down at Comic Con because how
That's
do you not
great.
have fun? How do you not have fun there?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was wondering because I didn't see anything about a screener. I wonder if you have had any chance to get any audience feedback yet. Have you showed it to test groups or anything? Have you gotten any feedback from anyone?
We have not had the chance to do it, to do like a public thing. We've done some internal screenings with Disney, with the Marvel team, and the feedback there has been really great. We've worked really closely with the Spidey team, so every time they've got something new to show, they show us something cool and new, and we get to show them something cool and new, and that's been a really fun partnership and being able to bounce ideas off each other that way. But yeah, we're the show's premiering in a week, so we're all very excited to see how people react and what kinds of things people find exciting about the story and the show.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to spoil, but I am going to show a graphic here on the screen of, there's toys for this as well, obviously. And so, the characters that we talked about, you see Iron Pup there, Iron Man, Iron Hulk, Iron Heart, and Ultron. But there's another one there, right up at the top middle. We're getting a little Sam Wilson Captain America as well. So is he going to be an older character, a little bit of a mentor for Tony in this?
Something we wanted to do on this show, which was a little different than Spidey, is the guest heroes on that show. They're not older, but they feel not as the same age as Spidey and his friends, right? They're all they feel a little bit more established heroes in the
Right.
world. Something we wanted to do that was a little different was have them all be about the same age. So our Sam Wilson Cap is, an 8-ish kid, just like Tony and Riri and Amadeus. He's a hero who's just coming into his own, just like they are. And I think it was a lot of fun writing them that way, but also for the audience, it's the fun of the wish fulfillment. I could be that kid. I could be Tony hanging out with Sam, or I could be Riri hanging out with T'Challa, because it's public knowledge now. But yeah, we do have Black Panther and Anya Corazon as Iron Spider, as well as some of our guest heroes that show up in the first episodes.
Yeah, I got a chance to see the Black Panther episode as well, and yeah, he fits right in, super genius along with the rest of them. So that was really cool to see as well. So, as James said, it premieres in a week. Everybody, highly recommend it, especially if you have younger kids. You want to get those conversations started about some of the themes. And again, like James said, they're not hitting you over the head with them, but they're important lessons about friendship and empathy and problem solving and how science is cool. So definitely something that you want to share with anyone who's a little younger in your family. So as we're winding down here, James, anything else you want to share with our audience about Iron Man and his awesome friends?
First off, I'm just so excited to be able to talk to everybody about it finally. We've been working on it for about over 3 years now. So to be able to share like some of the big stories coming out, being able to talk about the characters, I have to say we do have a really cool episode where our characters get to go to Wakanda and visit Black Panther there, that was just like such an honor and exciting thing to do. So we've got lots of big things still to come, big storylines still to come. There's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope everybody enjoys it and has a great time watching it with their families.
Yeah, and the cast as well is fantastic. Just wait, we won't spoil it, but just wait till you guys see who's playing Howard Stark. That kind of blew me away when I saw that. That was really cool. So again, it's celebrating the things we love about Marvel and these characters. Definitely aimed at a younger audience, but value in the stories and the lessons, and just a whole lot of fun. So, James, again, thanks so much for joining me, and best of luck with the series.
Thanks so much.
And to everybody out there in the audience, whether you're listening on the podcast feed or checking us out on YouTube, we appreciate you joining as always, and we'll talk to you next time.